Oh no, do we have another hair tie? Katie, you got subpar hair ties. Thank you, sir. Push play, and as soon as you start hearing the Gremlins theme song, start eating. Whenever y'all are ready. Okay, I thought there'd be audio, but there's not. Go ahead and eat. It's more exciting with music going behind it, but this is still pretty fun for me. Jules has one down. That is a clean wing. Jules is awesome. There's some napkins. We'll see when we get there. Guy, how are you doing over here? Guys got some partially, and Andrew's, I think, enjoying it. He just came up here for lunch, and he's like, "That's cool." Jeez. We only gave them a dozen because we thought it would make it last the full 90 seconds, but I think Jules is going to cut this thing short. That is 5 definitely done here from Jules. Guy's about to go down. Now we have water if you need it. It's all right in front of you. Jules has not even opened her water. Whoa! 27 seconds left.
Come on, Jules!
Guys' fingers are going to be feeling this for days. Andrew, how's your box looking? You okay? Alright, you're alright, you're alright. Lauren's got a lot of empties in there. 8 seconds left. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, let's see how everybody did. It looks like Jules has finished 10 of them, and very much finished. Lauren doesn't feel like no. Andrew, do you feel like there's maybe 10 empties in there? No. Guy, are you okay? Alright, good. I think we have a clear winner here, and it is Jules. Jules, I have this plushie Mogwai for you to enjoy and watch the movie with, and a still boxed up Mondo Tiki mug as well. Of course, thank you. Round of applause for everybody for coming out here. I apologize to your restrooms later.
Oh, God. That's why I didn't
And we're just going to strike this really quick, and then we'll keep it going. Please, everybody, put your hands together. Leading this conversation, I have Mike Williamson, one of the biggest Gremlins fans that I've ever met, filmmaker, editor, and then the director of Gremlins, Mr. Joe Dante.
Yeah!
That's Joe. Hey, Joe.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, guys, how's it going? So,
you guys have really been drinking all this time. You're going to have to get up and go to the bathroom in about an hour.
So, Henry asked me to moderate this Q&A because Gremlins is my favorite movie of all time.
Same here.
And do you guys know why it's my favorite movie of all time? It's quite simple, because it is the greatest movie ever made.
Yeah!
So,
agreed!
Let's give it up for Joe, who made the greatest movie ever made.
Yeah!
One thing I love about Gremlins is, as a movie lover, Gremlins has sort of everything in it. It's a horror picture, it's comedy, it's got drama, romance, it's a Christmas movie, it's a creature feature, it's got a musical number with Gremlins singing Snow White, which means it has an animated portion of it. It's got Snow White. For a movie lover, this is like a dream. And Joe, I know you're a big movie buff too. So when you got the gig to do Gremlins, okay, and you get the script, what are your influences? What movies are you thinking of that you're maybe trying to channel or that inspired you that you're bringing to Gremlins?
Well, you got to remember, when I got the script, I had only made a couple of pictures, and it turned out that Steven Spielberg had seen them. One was Piranha, which was a Jaws ripoff, and the other one was The Howling, and Steven had apparently seen that and hired Dee Wallace to be E.T.'s mom after seeing that movie. So when I got the script in the mail, it came in a rather grim part of my life because the company that made The Howling went out of business without paying me for editing it. And I was even developing another picture for them called Meltdown, and that, all, of course, I was not being paid for at all. And so I was really in financial difficulty by the time I got the script. And it came in the mail in my cockroach-infested office on El Centro Avenue. And I immediately thought it was a mistake and that it had gone to the wrong address, because how could this guy know who I was? And it turned out that because I had made cheap horror films, and Stephen was starting his new company, Amble, he wanted to kick it off with a low-budget horror film. And having seen my stuff, I guess he figured he could probably, I could probably do that for him. His original idea was to shoot the picture in Oregon at the Osmond Studios, non-union, and for $1.98. And it became apparent while we started working on it that it was going to be a little more complicated to make these creatures look real for an entire movie, and you couldn't really do it for $1.98. And that's when he went to Warner Brothers and got them to kick in some money, and it became a studio picture. But it started out as an independent picture.
Okay, so that'll bring us into how this became more than a little horror film. Just water. They won't do $37 for Joe. That's the one. So when this became more than a little horror picture, we need to talk about Chris Walas's work in Gremlins, doing all of the incredible animatronic effects. And this is not one animatronic creature, this is a whole army of things. So talk about, as a director, how you tackle something like that, because this isn't a Muppet movie. People are supposed to think these are real. You have to live and breathe. What sort of camera tricks, or a director, what did you do to make these things come to life?
Well, originally we didn't know how we were going to animate the Gremlins. We talked about stop motion, but of course we would still be shooting it. There was no money for that. And then we talked about putting monkeys in Gremlin suits.
What did Peter say?
That didn't work out. Well, this was all pre that stuff. But we got a rhesus monkey and put a gremlin on the head on him, and he jumped all over the editing room shadow all over everything. It was obvious that we were going to have to figure out another way to do it. So animatronics were, they've been being used for quite a while. I mean, they've pioneered by Disney, and we decided that we would try to go the puppet route. And Chris Walas, who I had worked with on Piranha, got the job of building the Gremlins, which were based on a design that Chris Columbus, the writer, had actually sketched in his original script. We had an army of people, literally, operating these puppets. It would take, to do one Gremlin in a close-up scene, it would probably take 3 or 4 people, pulling all the different strings and all the different motorized stuff. And they would but for a wide shot, we'd have to build the sets up on stilts so that all the puppeteers could be underneath or behind the wall or behind the furniture to be able to pull all the strings and stuff. And they looked at a monitor that was reversed, as if, because we're used to looking at ourselves in the mirror. And it would take 2 guys to do ears, 2 guys to do eyes, 2 guys to do mouth, whatever. And the trouble is that they all have to be in sync. So you can't just have one eyebrow going down and the other going up. They have to look like it's an expression. So it was really a lot of trial and error. And we did tests, endless tests, and different camera speeds, and we tried marionettes, which if you look really hard, you'll see a couple of marionettes in the movie, and you'll probably see why you don't see more marionettes in the movie. And we invented a way to get Gizmo to move. But the problem was that Gizmo was supposed to, in the original script, turn into Stripe, the bad gremlin, after about 20 minutes. And that was the way we planned to do the movie. So that the main gremlin would be a former Gizmo. But Steven Spielberg got it into his head, after seeing all of our tests with Gizmo, that he liked Gizmo so much that he said, we really shouldn't get rid of him. He should stick around and be the hero's pal for the entire picture. Which was terrifying for us, because we were like about 4 weeks away from shooting, and we had no idea how to make this puppet, which was really small, carry a movie and be a character, basically. We even worked out that he could get carried in his backpack, So that would get him from scene to scene because there's no way you could make him walk. And the technology later existed for the sequel to be able to make him do that, but it wasn't available to us then. And so basically we built these giant gizmo heads, which were actually fairly frightening to see, with like wingspan.
I'm going to pause you, Joe. Projection booth, do we have that JPEG? Can you put the picture up here?
Oh, I've seen this.
We have a visual aid.
I remember that.
Exactly what you're talking about.
We had better lighting in ours.
It's worth the wait. Is that what we're talking about?
Seen that a million times.
It's pretty creepy, isn't it? But you know, it's really no creepier than going to Disneyland and seeing giant Mickey, you know. But I don't think we didn't use any of that body. We only used the head. And I'm not sure this is actually the right head. But
for close-ups and stuff, right?
Yeah, because it was really very expressive. If you've seen the movie, there's a lot of really good shots of Gizmo acting, and almost all of them are giant Gizmo heads.
So, continuing on with the Gremlins themselves, how much of their personality, how funny they are, the things they say, was just discovered in post-production? You know, working with you on Looney Tunes Back in Action, I know that what you think maybe an animated character is going to say is not what the animated character says when the film is released. So with something like this, as you're shooting it, you know, Milk Duds or Gizmo, Kaka, all these sort of funny asides they say, is that in post-production, was that in the script, or you just discovered that on the set?
Well, some of it was scripted. Gizmo wasn't very verbal in the original script, and one of the things that happened when we went to the voice talent people was that when Howie Mandel, for instance, came in to do his Gizmo voice, which was a variation on a voice that he'd been doing as a baby character in something else, he would come up with stuff. He would come up with shtick and lines, and we realized that if Gizmo imitated the things that he heard, then you could have phrases that could actually start to make sense to the audience during the movie. Gizmo Kaka is what the Gremlins say about Gizmo because they don't like him. But there's not. It's all. There's actually when they made the Furby Gremlin, they made a list of a glossary of terms that Gizmo supposedly knows. None of which he says in the movie.
Yeah.
But the personalities of the characters really emerged partly from the puppeteers and from trial and error. And there were many things in the script that we were asked to have them do that just were not technically possible. And so we had to come up with stuff on the set that we made the most out of the limitations that we had. And one of the things we did was we put up a sign on the set that said, funny things for the Gremlins to do to Gizmo. And that's where the dartboard scene came from. And other ways in which they torture Gizmo. Because the problem is that Gizmo, because he was such a small puppet, was constantly breaking down. And was not, shall I say, particularly popular with anyone on the set. Because it just meant we're working with Gizmo, it's going to take us further. And so people started to build up a sort of hatred toward this character. And they just put him through the ringer. They just thought of terrible things to do to Gizmo. It wasn't his fault, although later he became kind of a prima donna, but that wasn't his fault. And the personalities came largely from the vocalists, some of which was done afterward. I do a lot of voices. There's a bunch of other people who do voices who didn't get credit. A lot of people get credit for doing voices, and none of their voices are in the movie. But that's just the nature of post-production. And this particular movie was shot over a period of 3 months, and then we shut down for a month or two just to get ready to shoot more Gremlin stuff because it was so expensive to do the puppeteering while the crew was standing around and the actors were standing around on salary that we just cut it into 2 different shoots. And the second shoot was very grueling. It was every non-human scene with a Gremlin had to be done. And we did them over and over again. Sometimes we did them at different speeds. Sometimes we did them with different lighting. And it became kind of exhausting because after a while, you know, you go to the dailies and you see the same shot over and over, this puppet, and you think, I don't know which one is better. I'm just sick of the whole thing.
Well, you mentioned Howie Mandel's work as Gizmo, so let's talk about the cast. Obviously, the supporting characters, a lot of awesome character actors, like your regular standby Dick Miller is awesome.
Yeah.
The two leads of the picture, relatively unknown. Phoebe Cates had done Fast Times. Was it always intended? You guys wanted, sort of fresh faces? Were there any bigger names that were up for this?
Well, it was a comparatively low budget picture at the time, and we didn't have a lot of money for big stars. And Zach Galligan was not unknown, but he had only done like one or two things. And it really those decisions were always left up to Steven, because I think one of the reasons the studio left us alone to the degree that they did was because they trusted him to be able to make sure that it was all going to work out okay. Phoebe was everybody's choice because she was just a goddess.
Yeah.
And she just had the most flawless skin I've ever seen in my life. And one day I was talking to her and I mentioned something about the Kennedy assassination, and she said, "Oh, I wasn't born then." And I just remember thinking, God, I'm old.
You're older now.
That's what happens when you work with young people.
I feel like right now we're in a time that's kind of crappy, in my opinion, for film scores. I feel like it's really hard to go to a movie now and walk out with a recognizable theme in your head. The theme for Gremlins is really iconic. It's an awesome theme that Jerry Goldsmith did, and it's also I kind of don't even understand how it exists. It's such a bizarre thing. This weird electronic ragtime polka thing that became the theme to this movie. So I'd love to hear how. Was it always like this, or was there a path getting to what became the Gremlins theme?
No, I had worked with Jerry on the Twilight Zone movie before this, and we got along really well, and that was a very odd episode that I did, and I had a lot of strange musical things in it. And I asked him if he would do this, and back in those days, before electronics, large electronics, the composer would play stuff on the piano for you. If you wanted to hear what his theme was, he would just play it on the piano. So he played the Gremlin rag for me on the piano. And I was completely perplexed. I just thought, are you sure this sounds like carnival music or something? And he said, no, I think I have this idea in my head. I think it's going to work. And I trusted him immensely. I mean, he was a great composer. He's one of the few geniuses I've ever worked with. And sure enough, when he finally put it all together, it's so different when you hear it with an orchestra than it is when you hear it on the piano. And of course, he was getting heavily into electronics then, and so there's a lot of electronic stuff in the score. And he sort of has even like electronic gremlin voices sort of in his music, and it was just fortuitous. Look, the whole movie was fortuitous. If you had asked me while I was making this picture if I thought I'd be sitting in front of you people 35 years later talking about it, and having most of you have already seen it more than once,
and it's at a luau.
At a luau, exactly. Even after Stitch stole all of our stuff. That's all right. That's all right. There's room for everybody. There's room for critters. There's room for munchies.
Yeah. Amateur.
Projection booth, do we have sound for that video? Are we good to go? I want to talk about the merchandising of Gremlins, the motion picture. Let's see, I have some clips here before we get into it, if we're good to go.
We didn't plan any of this, as you may have noticed.
Yeah. Well, as they get it ready, so at what point, so you go into makeup. Here we go. So here's some Gremlins merch.
These are the bad Gremlins. These are the Hasbro Gremlins. They were made very quickly, and they're not really very good. So it'd be hard to fake a movie with these guys.
This is a good one. This is high C if you can't see it. And if you send in some high C proof of purchases, you can get some Gremlins stickers.
The stickers are better. You could also get iron-ons. You could iron them on your shirt.
Yeah, I got them, don't worry. And next is probably my favorite, this Gremlins cereal.
Yeah, just don't eat it after midnight. In fact, don't eat it.
Look what it does to you.
It's peanut butter flavor.
Was it good, Joe? Was the cereal good?
It was as good as the quality of these clips.
All right, so I want to talk about the merchandising of Gremlins because you say a script shows up, it's for a low-budget horror picture. At what point in the process do you realize, oh, I'm making a merchandise movie? This is like a big thing that we're selling it to kids.
No, I realized that on the second movie, which is why there's so many jokes about merchandising. In the first one, there was no thought of merchandising until the first dailies of Gizmo coming out of the box in the living room showed up in front of the executives. And then all of a sudden, ka-ching, ka-ching, they thought, you know, we could maybe make some money with this. And they put into overdrive an effort to get as much merchandise out as fast, which is why you see the quality of Hasbro toys. Everything was just a crush to get everything out in time for the movie. And it worked. They got the stuff out, and the picture did very well merchandising-wise. What was surprising to them was how well the movie did altogether, because they really thought of it as Spielberg's folly. When we showed them the picture, they didn't quite understand what kind of a movie it was. They thought the Gremlins were disgusting. They thought there were too many of them. They said we should have to cut some of these Gremlins, and Steven said, well, you know, you
call it people.
We can call it people, but nobody will come.
What sort
The NECA stuff and everything it's really good quality stuff, and it went into overdrive with Gremlins too, and it sort of never stopped for them. I mean, there's constantly, every time I go to the internet, there's a new Gremlins thing that's been made. You know, the only Gremlins thing that hasn't been made is Gremlins 3.
We'll talk about that later.
Or not.
All right, so I have a favorite piece of Gremlins merchandise. Do you have a favorite piece of Gremlins merchandise? I know you have some of these toys around your house.
Merchandise. Well, I have some of the Peltzer inventions in my house. You know, the Peltzer peeler juicer and all those.
That is awesome.
I still have those. I should send them to Smithsonian. I don't really have a favorite piece of merchandise.
My favorite is the drinking and smoking gremlin at the bar, the wind-up toy. Have you seen that one? The little wind-up toy. So
the little wind-up toys are actually pretty cool.
So since this was merchandised sort of after the fact to kids, let's talk a little bit about the parental uproar that this movie caused. For parents who thought they were taking their kid to the Spielberg teddy bear movie or whatever, and how that eventually led to PG-13 ratings.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about. Because the original ad for Gremlins was the same color as the ad for E.T., and it had a little gremlin fuzzy hand coming out of the box. Everybody thought, oh, it's going to be another like Boyna's Dog movie, which it kind of is. But people, I think, brought their kids to the movie expecting it to be somewhat less dark than it turned out to be. And there's a scene in Gremlins 2 where a mother drags her child out of the movie and complains about how violent it is. And it's based on something that actually happened to me, because I was at a screening at the studio, and a mother dragged her child out during the blender scene. And the kid didn't want to leave. The kid wanted to see the movie. And so the kid got loose and ran back into the theater and hid. So I'm standing at the door with this woman fuming. She doesn't luckily know who I am, but she's fuming that her daughter is on. She has to watch this horrible movie. And around the country, apparently, in tandem with Steven's other movie that came out that year, which was the Indiana Jones 2, which had a ripped-out beating heart, enough people complained about these two movies that the MPA, in their wisdom, and they are such a very wise group, decided that there needed to be an extra rating between PG and R. And it was PG-13. And that was the invention of the PG-13. The odd thing is that they never went back and re-rated these two movies. So they still have PGs. And so it's all the movies that came afterward that had PG-13s.
Well, you mentioned Gremlins 2, and this is a Warner Brothers Alamo Drafthouse Rule Breakers screening. one of many to come. And I feel like Gremlins 2, you broke all the rules. You completely probably did exactly what Warner Brothers did not want to do. You deconstructed the picture. Let's talk briefly about Gremlins 2 and what it was like to set your original hit on fire.
Well, when this picture turned out to be such a surprise hit, they, needless to say, said, we know we have to make another one of these right away. And I have to tell you, I was sick of Gremlins. I couldn't face the idea of going back into that swamp, as the president likes to call it. And so I said, no, you guys should just go do whatever you want to do. So for the next couple of years, 3 or 4 years, they tried to figure out a reason to make a sequel. And the only reason to make a sequel was that they wanted to make money. So, and they didn't really like or understand the first movie. I mean, they were very grateful that it was so successful, but they didn't really get it. And so they had all these scripts commissioned, they threw a lot of money at it. Gremlins go to Mars, Gremlins go to Las Vegas, Gremlins meet Ma and Pa Kennel, whatever they could think of. And they finally came back to me and my producing partner, Mike Fennell, and said, we can't figure it out. We figure you must have had something to do with the success of this picture. So we want another one of these movies and we want it next summer. And if you guys will give us another Gremlins movie, we'll let you do whatever you want. And that was difficult to refuse, especially since we now had 3 times the money to make the picture, and also better technology. That in the ensuing years, the technology had advanced immensely, and so we could do a lot of stuff that we could only hint at the first movie. But my feeling was that it should be a movie about why there shouldn't be a sequel to Gremlins at all.
You're not going to get yourself a job for Gremlins 3 if you.
No, I think that's already a given. Needless to say, when they saw the movie, they were beyond perplexed. But they had said that I could do whatever I wanted, and they were true to their word. They said, okay, well, I guess we'll go with this. And it was a lot of fun for me. It was anything I could think of, I could throw into the movie, and it was a satire of the 90s. It was a satire of the guy who is currently running the country. But more, he's a benign character, so I think of him more as Ted Turner. And we got Rick Baker to do the Gremlins because Chris Willis had gone off to become a director, and Rick didn't want to just redo those designs, so we created the character of a geneticist played by Christopher Lee, who was creating different kinds of Gremlins, so that Rick could just go wild and come up with all sorts of different ideas. And so it's a different movie. I mean, it is the sequel to this movie, and it makes many references to the original picture and deconstructs the rules and deconstructs Phoebe Cates' speech about Santa Claus and all that stuff. I mean, all the things that people were annoyed about in the first movie, we put that in the second movie too. These two are sold like together on DVD now. So, but the thing that's really amazing is the longevity of this particular first movie. It's one of those weird things like when. In the old days, when Disney would re-release their animated cartoon features every 7 years to get a new generation, well, thanks to home video, which has salvaged the careers of many an 80s director whose pictures did not make money theatrically, people found these movies and they handed them around to their friends and brothers and sisters and their schoolmates and eventually their kids. And a whole bunch of movies from the 80s that were marginally successful are now sort of iconic because of home video and because people have such easy access to them. And the fact that all you people who have apparently seen this picture already have decided to show up again and see it again, it is a different experience when you see a movie with an audience than it is when you watch it at home on your TV. And you lose the communal thing. And the most fun thing about seeing this particular movie and movies like it in big audience is that you share the experience, and it becomes a different experience than it is if you just do it at home.
That's a great way to end it, Joe. I'm just curious, who here has not seen Gremlins before? Raise your hand.
Oh, you gotta be.
Oh no, we spoiled it for you.
Well, you 4 guys enjoy the greatest movie ever made. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
minutes, we're going to go into the movie. Just a couple of things. The bars are going to remain open. I know the lines were difficult on the way in, so if you need to get up and get another drink during the movie, you may. But we're still going to play by Alamo Drafthouse rules, even at a rule breakers thing. Please, really, no talking, no texting, obviously. If anybody around you is being rude, find one of us and let us know, and we'll take them out back, where there's an alley, and then we'll be like, now you're just in this alley in downtown LA, and we'll just leave them there, and that should be enough punishment. Yeah. All right, we've got the stage cleared. Ladies and gentlemen, Gremlins.
Yeah.